Hey everyone, this is your favorite friend Jay, and today I have a special guest. I interviewed Nicolette Sullivan last time, and now I have her dad, Dan Sullivan, who was the leading vocalist in Hans Naughty, a hard rock band in San Francisco. So I'm here to refresh our memories and go back to those glorious days of the 80s and 90s where hard rock was the thing. And I want to tell you, hello, Dan. So nice to talk to you.
Hey, how you doing, Jana?
I'm great, thank you. Okay, so what I want to ask you is Hans Naughty. Where did this name come from? And does it feel like Hans Naughty, or am I just imagining this?
No, that's funny. You picked up on it. Naughty hands. Okay. No, but no, what okay, when we were coming up, it was, and this is gonna age me, but it was in the early 80s, right, guys? So like 1982, 81, 82, we were young guys and late teens. But we wanted a name that we felt sounded European, so we came up with Hans. And then the naughty part kind of it kind of was who we were. We were a little naughty.
I feel it. I feel it.
So I mean, I'm not anymore. I'm a very good boy. But
okay. I'll try to believe you.
But back then, put a little light on me. Yeah, so that's how that name came up. We just, we wanted something that sounded German, and we were big fans of like Van Halen and stuff, and we felt like that sounded like European, and so yeah.
So where did the idea come from? Like, were you a group of guys and you just wanted to start a band? Why did you guys come up and start this?
What happened? Well, me and Mark Crowley, the bass player, original bass player, we were from a little town in Northern California called Marysville, and we played in bands together there. That town's up north of Sacramento, probably 120 miles from San Francisco. And we, in high school, we played in bands together. And then I moved down to the Bay Area because I wanted to pursue music, and I was drumming at the time, but I ended up, so I drummed with a few bands, but then I was also singing from behind the drums. And so I decided I wanted to try and audition, see what else was out there. And so I auditioned as a singer, and I found Jim and Terry, the guitarist and the drummer, and they had a bass player named Kevin, and we got together. We really hit it off. But then Kevin, he wanted to be more like Rush, more like progressive rock. And we wanted to be more like Van Halen and Aerosmith and AC/DC.
Oh.
And so we split with Kevin, and I called Mark from Marysville. I said, Mark, I got this great band. You got to come down. And Mark came down, and it worked real well,
Wow, awesome. So was music always your passion? Like, were you always passionate about music since you were a kid?
Yeah, no, I was into sports when I was a kid. When I was young,
Right.
I loved football and basketball. But I got to high school, and I wasn't big. I grew later. It's weird. I'm 6 foot now, but when I was in high school, I was like 5'2". 5'3", and didn't hit my growth spurt till like my junior year or whatever. So it was during that time when I realized, okay, sports ain't going to work out so much right now because I'm too small, basically. So I started playing drums, and then I grew, but then I'd lost interest in sports because when I started playing drums and played in a band, all of a sudden girls liked you.
They should.
So I was like, forget about sports. I mean, I still love sports, but
Yeah.
so drumming was pretty physical. Drumming's a physical endeavor, and you got the same adrenaline rush as playing football or basketball. So yeah.
So singing or drumming, like, which got you more?
Singing, because singing, the frontman thing. I liked, you see from the pictures that I sent you, right? Okay, see, so I like dressing up and being out front.
Very, very. You're very out there.
Okay, I'm gonna show you something. Hold on.
All right.
See, I came prepared. I came prepared for this interview.
I love this. Show it to me. Oh my God, I love it.
Hold on. So this is the jacket I used to wear in Hans Naughty.
Look at that. This looks so
I still have it, and it still fits.
Oh la
So
la,
there,
look at you. Uh-huh. Look at you. This is so cool.
anyway, I thought
Wow.
I'd bring that out because,
This is
you
the
know,
coolest.
I mean, this should be in a museum somewhere.
I know, I know. I mean, because it just looks, oh my God, it's just so the era and so the
You know
time.
what's funny? I sent you a picture actually of me and Nikki. We went to see oh, who's that young guy that's very popular right now? Harry Styles.
Yes, he is. He is.
And I wore this jacket to Harry Styles concert and a
I, of
yellow t-shirt with sequins and a yellow scarf because everybody dresses up to go see Harry Styles.
course.
So my daughter would normally be very embarrassed if I wore this jacket out, but Harry Styles, she actually loved it. So
It looks so
that was
cool.
cool.
Are you serious? I love it. I love it. And I felt this vibe from you. Like I felt this, like outgoing personality, all sequins and all glitter and stuff. And I felt like, wow, this is so Dan. So this is why you felt more confident and more expressive in the singing.
Yeah, I enjoyed being up front, because then you're just really interacting with the crowd, really connecting. And also there were better drummers out there, a lot better. And Jim, like my drummer in Hans Noddy, I mean, Jim played a double kick and everything, double bass drum, and I didn't, I was just playing a single, so I think singing just suited me better for sure. For sure.
Okay, so when we envision, like rock and roll in a band, we always think of the life on the road. So what did you guys tour? Did you do anything? Was
But yeah,
life on the road? Yeah.
we toured a little bit, but we did, we never had a major record deal. We played with big bands. We played on bills with Motely Crue, with Metallica, with Poison, with Warrant, with Ratt, Night Ranger, a bunch of these, Guns N' Roses. We all knew each other, back in the day. We were playing the same circuit, and we'd go to after parties together, get drunk together, sing together, whatever. So, but we didn't do a lot of touring because we only had a independent label. We didn't have a major label. And then what happened was the whole scene just kind of went away in the late 80s, early 90s. I mean, if you were already established like Motely Crue or Guns, you were okay. But if you hadn't broke at that point, and grunge came along with Pearl Jam and Nirvana, and those sort of bands, in the whole genre, just if you hadn't already made it, forget it, you were done. So we kicked the horse down the road like a few more years, and then we're just like, oh well.
Okay, so what are your fondest memories of this time? Was it just the rush that you felt on stage, the girls, the wild life?
I would say, what honestly was to me was and I think this comes from sports, and also it's 4 guys against the world, right? It's just like, okay, we're going to do this. And when we saw ourselves in the Bay Area, our first gig was at a punk rock club called the Mabuhay Gardens. A guy named Dirk Dirksen, who was very hip in the punk scene. For some reason, he booked us, and it was a rainy Tuesday night. There were like 4 people in the club, and we bought it as if we were on a stadium stage, and it was a rainy night in San Francisco, and 4 people in the club on a Tuesday, and we hit that stage. We're young, 19, 20 years old. We hit it like it was a sold out arena. And Dirksen saw that, and then he just said, oh my gosh, you guys got something going on. And so he started booking us, even though it was a punk club and we were a metal band. He started booking us on the regular. And then the Stone, which was a more metal club across the street and much bigger, they caught on. And then Wolfgang's and the old Waldorf, which are Bill Graham's clubs, they caught on. And the next thing you knew, we were selling places out all over San Francisco. So to me, it was just like, okay, that was fun to do with your buddies. Like, oh my gosh, look at this, we're doing something. It was exciting and exhilarating. And then, I got used to the girls' attention. I was very shy. I was a good Catholic boy.
Okay, I don't believe this. Are you shy?
Listen. I was a good kid, okay? And then when I got to the Bay Area, I got corrupted a little bit. Because those guys were light years ahead of me in terms of women and stuff. And I was just a good little country boy. So
Yeah.
I made up for it in my 20s. I was a bad boy. I wasn't too bad.
Really? How bad?
I wasn't too bad.
Okay.
I wasn't too bad. I always had a moral center.
Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I want to ask you is, I saw this picture of you, really cool dad. I'm gonna put it on Instagram because I want this. Really cool dad and holding your daughter. How come,
Yeah.
like, I tried to envision the coolest dad ever with the coolest hair and the coolest clothes. Like, what was it like for you, just shifting and having fatherhood in your life?
Oh, yeah. You know what the weird thing is? I mean, it's such a great question because honestly, a couple years before Nikki was born, and I'm so grateful she was born. Don't want to start crying.
Oh my God, Dan. I'm here with you.
Yeah, so grateful. But if you had asked me 2 years before, I would have been like, no fucking way, man. I don't want a kid. The minute they put that baby in my arms, I became a dad. It just like, been there ever since.
Oh my God, Dan, this is beautiful. Oh my God. And I can feel it. You're just a great dad with Nikki and all. I just feel it's amazing, really. And you just instilled the love of music in her. So yeah,
Yeah. No, it's cool. See, so that just happened all natural. It was like, but I didn't expect it. It was the last thing I wanted was a child.
I know.
But the Lord has ways, and Nikki came along and and now we're, working on her second album together. I mean, I'm just like, oh my stars. I always thought when she was little, I go, I wonder what it's going to be like when she's in her 20s and I'm in my 50s and all this stuff. And it's just neat, man. It's neat. It's neat where we're at. And sometimes it's hard, it's hard sometimes working with your kid and you're both so passionate about it. And Nikki's definitely got a very hard head. I mean, which is great. She's got a very good sensibility of who she is as an artist. And me and her will hit heads in the studio and stuff at times, but I think that's okay. Any great band always had tension. Tension is part of creating the great stuff. The Beatles, the Stones, Guns N' Roses, any really great band, if there's no tension, I don't know, there's got to be some tension. You still have a great time, but there's got to be moments of tension because that's I mean, that gives the songs their fire, I think. So
totally. Okay, so I gotta ask about the hair, because the hair was the best
I lost it all.
How wild was your hair, and how did you get your hair like this?
Well, no, when we were teenagers, right, we're looking up to bands like, when we're in our early teens, we were looking up to Ted Nugent and Lynyrd Skynyrd and UFO from England, and Ozzy Osbourne and all those guys, and Van Halen and stuff. And so you just started growing your hair out. And then by the time you were 18 or 19, all of a sudden your hair was pretty long,
Yeah.
And when you got in your early 20s, it was real long. But there were dudes on the Sunset Strip who had hair way longer than mine, going all the way down to their ass and shit and whatever. I mean, there were guys you couldn't even tell if they were a guy or a girl, but that was the glam scene.
That was the glam.
Even though I showed this jacket, Hans Naughty was more of a hard rock band. We were more of like an arena rock, party rock band, not a glam band. We didn't wear a lipstick and a ton of makeup. You saw, in the photos. We were more like a Van Halen, Ted Nugent style thing.
Totally. I totally felt it. I felt it from the pictures, to be honest with you. So yeah. Okay, so what I want to ask you is, okay, so you've played along many bands, like some of the greats, some of my favorites, like Metallica, Guns N' Roses. I feel like, oh my God, my mind is blowing. Do you have any like memories? Do you have any interactions with these people that will give me like a hint or a glimpse of how they were?
Well, yeah, I mean, everybody had mutual. This is my experience. Now, I'm not sure if it was everybody's experience, but with Hans Naughty, when it came to Guns N' Roses, we didn't know Motely Crue that well. We played with them, but see, Guns was more like in our era, and Poison was in our era. Okay, and I felt like we all had a mutual respect for each other. Came out of the scene also, but they were in a little bit different scene. was Jane's Addiction. They were current with us, but they didn't play the Strip. They didn't play the Sunset Strip. They played more of the downtown scene, a little bit edgier scene, right?
Yeah.
But what I remember is that we all had a respect for each other. There wasn't like, I mean, you felt like, okay, you wanted to make it, but it wasn't like we didn't really. I didn't feel like there was a big rivalry.
Yeah.
I just felt like there was a mutual respect, and yeah, like Axel, all my interactions with him, he was really pleasant. And even though I know he had this reputation that he developed later on stage for being cantankerous, whenever I met Axel, and we hung out and drank, or we're at an after party or something singing, he was just a nice guy. Same with Slash, So, and then I didn't really know the guys from Metallica that well. We play with them in the Bay Area. We had beers with, you saw the picture with Terry, my guitarist, and James Hetfield.
James Hetfield.
Yeah, so we hung out. But they were definitely a different scene than us. When we played with Metallica in the Bay Area, some of their fans at the front of the stage actually turned their backs on us when we were playing. And we had our fans there too, but after the show, yeah, my drummer and one of my roadies went up and talked to those guys.
Okay.
Yeah, they weren't having it, So, but that was cool because these guys were just showing how much they wanted to support the hardcore thing, the thrash metal thing of Metallica, which we weren't. We were a party rock band, but I didn't mind because we had plenty of gals in the stage in the crowd. So it's like a couple dudes turned their back on me. Who gives a shit?
You have to, because you guys were so handsome. I was just gonna tell you hello. All the girls must be going wild.
Yeah, no, that was. Yeah, I developed no game because I didn't have to have any game. So then when the band was over, I had to learn game. I still don't have any game. I say, really? Nikki, what do I do? That's my daughter.
But I feel like you're natural.
I think I see a gal in the what do you call it? The supermarket. I say, Nikki, man, look, she's cute. How do I go approach her? Anyway, I'm joking a little bit, but I'm not joking too much.
Okay. I feel it then. I know you have this naughty part still alive inside you. Okay, I get it.
Yeah, for better or worse.
Which is why I want to ask you, okay, what was the most striking memory, like something that happened and, like an embarrassing situation, something that went out of hand, all from these times, like you must have something.
Well, I don't know. I mean, we ended up in jail a few times, for being too rowdy or whatever,
Really?
up on the Sunset Strip. And it was never anything big. You'd get arrested. Well, here's the thing. The sheriffs were always, okay, all the rockers were out on the strip and all the gals. And it was like a cruise strip, except for you walked it. And that you had Gazaris here, then you had the Rainbow, okay, which was a prolific rock and roll hangout. Then you had the Roxy, and then you had the Whiskey. These are all within half a mile of each other, and so people would just gravitate there and walk around. And so obviously people would be getting drunk, fights would happen, people would be too drunk, and the cops were just sitting on corners waiting to throw people into their cop cars. So there was a couple times we got thrown into cop cars and ended up in either Beverly Hills jail or West Hollywood jail. But I don't know. Nothing really bad or embarrassing happened. I mean, one time I fell through a hole in the stage.
Oh my God. Was this
there was a hole in the stage. It was at the Palace, and I don't know how the hole was there, but all of a sudden I found myself in the hole, but I got stuck halfway. So, and we were extras in a movie. They were shooting a movie and they had Hans Naughty in it. And so I had to, push myself out. Obviously they called cut, but I had to get myself out of that. And then, I don't know, man, we just had fun, we had fun most of the time.
Like you had fun. It seems
I mean, but it was weird. We were all working jobs and stuff, back then, the way you did it is either I always worked jobs. Okay. I never had somebody supporting me, but a lot of guys had strippers supporting them. Okay. Wow. A lot of rocker dudes, these girls who stripped and because there's all the strip clubs up there.
Yeah.
They those gals love the rock scene, the rocker guys, and so a lot of guys would live with their stripper girlfriends, and the girlfriends would pay all the bills.
Oh
I
my.
didn't do that. That wasn't how I was raised. So I'm not going to do that.
Okay, this is so cool. So, do you still keep in touch with the guys? Like, do you guys talk?
Yeah. What's interesting is I'm in touch with everybody. I'm in touch with Terry, the guitarist, with Mark, my original bass player, and with Jim, my drummer. And then we had a second bass player, Steve, who came in about 4 years into the band's growth, because Mark was getting asked to audition for Ozzy Osbourne and people like that, and it just didn't work out. My buddy from Marysville, but we all still talk. It's interesting. Certain guys I talk to more than others, but it's good. Thank God we're all still alive.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like I'm just like, thank you, Lord.
Exactly.
So
I'm so happy. It's so happy.
Promise I ain't gonna cry no more in this interview.
No, you're not gonna cry. But I'm gonna ask you a question, and I hope this doesn't make you cry. Do you feel like now rock is like a dying genre or something?
No, you know what? I don't. And because I'm discovering, it's weird. No, I think it's underground. Okay. I think it's not like the 80s. I mean, that was when rock was at its pinnacle. And then the 90s came along and grunge became the pinnacle thing. And good kick-ass Scorpions, Van Halen style hard rock started to dissipate. But there's still a really cool underground rock scene. I just discovered a band yesterday called Starbenders, and they're from Atlanta. And this woman singer, woman drummer, and two dudes, and they've got this completely glam throwback, like 1970s glam look, but they're young. They're probably in their 20s, maybe late 20s. I don't know, because they've been around for a while. But I just discovered them, and I think they're brilliant. Like, I actually just posted on my Facebook, look at this new band I just found. So I think there's a thriving underground scene for new metal and hard rock. And it's just not being played on mainstream radio. Right now, mainstream radio is just all hip hop and pop. So
That's true. Yeah. So I'm going to finish this interview by asking you, if you have a new listener and you want to introduce them to Hans Naughty, what is the song that they should start with?
Okay. If they could find this song, because see, we don't have a lot on the internet, because we were honestly before the internet blew up. Yeah. And I haven't really, because I've thought about, well, why don't I just get a whole, we got this independent label in the Midwest that's going to try and release this whole compilation on us. So if they're called Eonian Records, EONIAN, and this guy Steve, he's been having me for like 3 years put together stuff. So I think like the songs that defined us, there was a song called Time to Die, and it was a heavy song. A song called Riot in Classroom A, that was a kick-ass song. A song called Bon Voyage, a song called Warrant to Burlesque. These were all really good hard rock songs with really kick-ass harmonies and hooks. Great guitar playing. Terry was as good as Randy Rhoads or anyone out there in the day. My guitarist, he was a shredder. And anybody that knows Hans Naughty, well, that's one thing they'll tell you.
Terry.
So Terry was a shredder.
Yes. Awesome. Okay, Dan, it's just amazing talking to you. You're like one of the best people I know now, and I just love talking to you. You have this energy that makes me feel like I want to go and listen to rock and relive all the days it was my grunge, it was my teen angst. So thank you for talking to me.
Oh, no problem. Thank you. And we'll stay buddies.
Definitely. You're my buddy now. So yeah.
I love that. I love it. I got a friend in Egypt. I'm like, yes. This is cool.
Okay. Bye-bye, Dan.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.